So here is our answer. We have seen the question in our previous video. So we're gonna start with the process 1 account. We have studied about the 2 units introduced, that is 50,000, and per unit price was your 100 rupees. So the whole amount will be 50 lakh. 2 materials cost, this is your 50,000, then 2 labor 1,50,000, and 2 overheads 30,000. Now by normal loss, the normal loss was your 5%, we have seen in the question in our previous video. So 5% of the units introduced, and the units introduced are your 50,000. 5% of 50,000 will be your 2,500, because your normal loss is sold at the scrap value. So, and the scrap value given for process 1 in the question was rupees 10. So we'll multiply 2,500 with the 10. 2,500 into 10 is your 25,000. After calculating your normal loss, you need to calculate the abnormal loss. Normal loss, how did we calculate? 5% of 50,000, 2,500 units. Now the output after the normal loss will be 50,000 minus 2,500, that is your 47,500. But in the question, it was given that the output is only 46,500. See, in process 1, actual output is your 46,500. Here, after normal loss, the output is 47,500. 47,500. So, your abnormal loss will be 47,500 minus 46,500, and you will get your abnormal loss units, that is your 1000 units. See, your abnormal loss units, 1000 units. Now to calculate its per unit, you need to learn the calculation of cost per unit, which I'm gonna tell you later. So we'll see by transfer to process 2 account, that what units will transfer to process 2. It is given in the question that 2/3 of the output of process A and 1/2 of the output of process B was passed on to the next process. So 2/3 of the output of process 1 is your 46,500. So we need to calculate 2/3 of 46,500, that is your 31,000. So by transfer to process 2 will be your 31,000. Actually, for this also we need to learn about the calculation, that is cost per unit for abnormal loss, and for by transfer to process 2, both of the per unit value for both these units will be same, and we will learn it, which is your cost per unit. This is the formula. This is the formula to calculate cost per unit, in which you need to first find the total cost minus scrap value of the normal loss, then your units introduced minus units of normal loss. So how do you calculate the total cost? That is your 50 lakh plus 50,000 plus 1,50,000 and plus your 30,000, and the scrap value will be your 25,000, then units introduced 50,000, and your normal loss units 2,500. See here, 50 lakh plus 50,000, 150,000, 1,50,000, 30,000. You need to add this minus scrap value of the normal loss, that is 25,000, divided by units introduced, that is your 50,000, and minus your units of normal loss, that is 2,500. You will get the cost per unit. This is the cost per unit for both the units, that is your abnormal loss and by transfer to process 2 account. You need to multiply that cost per unit into your 1000, you'll get this value. Cost per unit multiply 31,000 and you will get this value. Now we have seen that the output was 46,500, out of which 2/3, that is 31,000, is transferred to process 2. Now rest 15,500. From where we get this 15,500? It is 46,500 minus 31,000. that is 15,500. Now it is sold. See, 2/3 output of the process passed on to the next process and the balance was sold. The per unit selling price is given here. For process 1, the per unit selling price is your 600. We'll multiply 15,500 multiply your 600 and we'll get this value. Now we'll add this and we'll get the balancing figure here in 2 P&L account, that is this amount. And this is how we'll prepare your process 1 account. Now let's start the process 2 account. First we will transfer the output of process 1, that is 31,000. Then we'll write all the expenses in the process 2, to material, to labor, to overheads. After that we'll find the normal loss units, and that was your 15% in process 2. We have seen in the question 15% of 31,000. So we'll write 15% of 31,000, that is 4650, and it is sold at the scrap value. The scrap value was your rupees 25 for process 2. We have seen in the question, and we'll multiply 4650 multiply 25. Now we have calculated normal loss, 15% of 31,000, that is 4650. Now the output should be 31,000 minus normal loss, that is 4650. It is equal to 26,350. But in the question we have seen that for process 2 the output was 27,000, which is more than this output. That means we have abnormal gain in this process, that is 27,000 minus 26,350. It is equal to 650. We have abnormal gain units, that is your 650 units. We'll write the abnormal gain in your debit side, to abnormal gain 650 units. In this also per unit value is calculated, that is your this cost per unit. So we'll calculate it, and this your by transfer to process 3 account. We have seen in the question that one half of the output is need to be transferred to process 3, and the output was 27,000. So one half of 27,000 will be your 13,500. The cost per unit will calculate for abnormal gain and your transfer to process 3. In our last process we have calculated the cost per unit for your abnormal loss and transfer to process 2. Now the rest of the output, that is it was 27,000 and the transfer is of 13,500. Rest 13,500 will be sold, and the selling price in the process 2 account for per unit value was 825. So we'll multiply 13,500 multiply 825 and we'll get the selling price. You have already learned the formula of cost, this cost per unit. First we need to find out the total cost, that is this value plus 75,000 plus 4 lakh plus 90,750, and then you need to subtract the normal loss value, that is 1,16,250. After that you need to divide it with 31,000 minus 4650. So we have for process 2 the total cost minus normal loss units divided by units introduced minus normal loss units, and we'll get the cost per unit, that is 145.98. Now we need to multiply this cost per unit in the abnormal gain and transfer to process 3. Here we'll multiply the cost per unit in 650 and in your 13500. So this way we'll get the whole this and we'll get the balancing figure in 2 P&L account. So this way we make your process 2 account. Moving to process 3 account, first we'll write to transfer from process 2 account, that is the output of process 2 13,500 and its value. Then all the expenses, your material, labor, overheads, and the same thing we'll find the normal loss, in which we were given in the question we were given that 20% units were loss. that is 20% of 13,500, we get 2,700, and the scrap value was 50 rupees. So we'll multiply 2,700 multiply 50. Then you need to calculate the abnormal loss units. So first we calculate the normal loss units, 20% of 13,500, that is 2,700 units. Then we'll find the output. The output should be total units minus your normal loss units, that is 10,800. But in the question we have seen the output was only 10,500. See here in process 3, the actual output is given here 10,500.